If there is one thing that has improved my photography in the last few years, that one has to be, no doubt, the sheer amount of photos that I take almost every day. Indeed, I take a lot of pictures, like a lot, and today is not going to be an exception. I'm on my way to a pretty much random spot near a lake I found on Google Maps, but knowing this country is going to be stunning and breathtaking. Of course, I'm expecting to take a lot of pictures today, and I'll be showing you every single one of them. We'll also talk about why I shoot so much, why this approach has been so good for my work, and how it might be beneficial for your photography as well. All right, that's some pretty amazing light happening right there. I'm trying to contrast the peak on the bottom left with the light on the top right. I think it's looking cool. It's pretty windy today, so I'm gonna grab a hat so my hair doesn't go crazy. Alright, so the first photos are out of the way. As I said many times in this channel, the first photograph is really important for me. I like to take a photo early on the day because that gets me in the mood and gets my brain, working and looking for more images. Of course, I say one photograph, but you saw that I took at least 2 different compositions and multiple shots of the one that I liked, making sure that I got what I wanted. Hopefully the first of many to come. Let's keep going. So I just saw another beautiful scene, one of those huge waterfalls on the side of the road that you can find here in Norway pretty much everywhere, and that is just something that keeps blowing my mind. Because it's on the side of a very busy road, I want to take it as fast as possible, so I'm already ready for the shot. I know I want to take an exposure of, anywhere between 2 and 4 seconds to smooth out the water of the waterfall, so that's why I have the tripod. I already have a 6-stop ND filter on my super zoom lens, so that should be plenty enough for the image that I want to make here. So beautiful. All right, done. Another beautiful spot on the side of the road. I took a bunch of shots. First, because this tripod is not high enough, was not high enough to avoid the fence, so I had to have it in a very weird position. I had to actually hold it myself, so I got a few blurry shots. I'm gonna show them to you as well. Have to cross really quick. I was also trying different shutter speeds, and so now I have a few to choose from depending on the effect that it had on the water. I also found 2 compositions, one that I think is going to be okay with a shed on the right, the waterfall on the left. The one that I like the most, it's the waterfall on the right, and then on the top left there was a little building with a couple windows that looked pretty cool because it was partially hidden by a tree. So you first see the waterfall in the image, but then you'll eventually realize that there is that house there with a little window, and I think it looks nice in my opinion. Park here really quick. And I take a shot of that church right there. All right, let's try to capture that church with the mountains in the background. I have to get low to get rid of the foreground. It's a very busy scene, but it might work. The thing is, I think it's the third time that I drive by this church, and I took a bunch of shots in the last few days in different conditions, and I think that the shot that I just took didn't really work today, but I think it was a couple of days ago when I made a much better one because the conditions were better. But the one shot I had not taken of this church just yet, and I should be able to make it happen today, is this one that I'm taking here right now. It's a long exposure of the front of the church, very cool, and there is plenty of space. It's pretty clean, there is nothing, no distractions or obstacles. I didn't make it the previous times I was here because I did not have the clouds that I have today. You know, it was rainy, misty. I was awesome for other shots, but not for this one. So that's what I'm trying to do now, a 4-minute long exposure. So hopefully I get the church and some cool cloud movement in the background. All right, let's check. Looks nice, but you know what I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna take at least another 2 or 3. I think I'm gonna try with a 2-minute long exposure now. The clouds are moving really fast. Okay, that should be plenty of shots. I'm putting everything away, but I'm not done yet with this church. I'm gonna grab a couple different lenses and just walk around and see if I can find any details of the church and maybe some compositions with a cool background, because the mountains are looking beautiful today. So yeah. There's a cool cross there in between those the stones, and I think that might look cool. One of the things you'll notice is that most of my pictures are kind of bad, but that's the whole point of shooting a lot. I like to experiment, I like to try new things. It's not like I'm shooting everything or anything. Every photo I take is of something that caught my eye. I want to work that scene and try it. Maybe it will work. It's getting uglier, or should I say prettier. It's getting dark and it's starting to rain, so I'm gonna check out this dock right here really quick, because there might be some long exposures. I think that I'm done with long exposure for today if it's gonna start raining, because it's a relatively windy day too, and those are pretty bad for long exposures. It could have worked, those stairs in the water with that backdrop, but there is a lot of stuff there, a lot of houses, and it makes for a very chaotic scene, so I'm not gonna capture that. So I'm just gonna go back to the car and keep going, because I'm not even close to that random spot that I was going to. So let's keep going. Another beautiful scene on the side of the road. Now we are higher in the mountains. It's getting very windy and it's starting to rain, but this is so beautiful. All right, so one photo is that waterfall over there that I'm gonna try to place in between those trees. And what I'm doing, I'm just playing with the amount of the mountain that I want to show, if I want to show the top of the mountain or not. The other one is those houses down there. Let's see what I can get here. Now, I was here a couple days ago too, because I like to revisit locations and shoot them again, because they can be absolutely completely different depending on the conditions, and this is no exception. I got very different images here a couple days ago. All right, yet another. I have to switch lenses here in the car because now it's raining. As you can see, a lot of my photography happens on the side of the road. That is because I really like to shoot in bad conditions, and there is no better way to move around in bad conditions than with the car, especially when you are traveling and you don't have unlimited time. It's just faster. Of course, when I'm home, walking is by far my favorite way of doing photography. So I'm gonna guess the 35 is gonna be the right lens for this scene. Let me mount the GoPro on top of the camera so I can show you what I'm gonna be doing. I saw this little shed here. It might work for a photo. We'll see. Trying to focus on the leaves of the tree now. All right, that one didn't really work, but again, I tried. You never know until you try. I'm gonna switch lenses again, because when I'm driving, I usually try my best to have the 28-200 mounted on my camera, because, you know, sometimes I see something, I have to stop and I don't have a lot of time because maybe it's not a good spot or whatever the reason. If I have to grab a shot really quick, it is better to have a zoom so you can just get the shot really quick and use the focal length that you need instead of having to switch to the right lens. Look at that. Well, the first one is going to be, of course, that cliff sticking out, and then maybe we can contrast that on the bottom left of the frame with some of the mountain peaks on the top right. That is pretty cool. That branch of the tree, that tree and the branch are pretty cool. Let's see how I can capture that. Yeah, it's too bad. They're pretty cool, but the scene here is pretty busy. There are other trees that get in the way. So I think this one right here is the best one I found. The trunk of the tree on the left, then that branch, and that other tree contrasting there. It's not that I can do anything about that tree anyway, so I have to use it somehow. So let's take that photo, and hopefully the peak in the background helps as well to add some context. Okay, this is cool because I stopped here because I saw the shape of that fjord thingy, mountain thingy. It looks pretty cool against the one that it has behind it in the background. But now that I stop here, I also see a dock down there that looks pretty cool, and I'm gonna try to do something with it. So far today I've been very lucky about finding a spot where to park when I see something that I like. That is usually not the case. Most of the time I see something I think is worth photographing, that it has potential for an image. I just cannot stop. It's not safe or whatever. And that's fine, because most of those are false positives anyway. It's just we just see them on the side of the eye or something, and we might think that it's better than it actually is. What usually happens is that we see a cool church or a cool mountain or whatever, but we don't see everything else that would be in the frame as well. That is a fence, a power line, or something that could ruin the image. In any case, my advice is that if you see something with potential for an image and you can stop and you can actually try it, do it. Do not wait until you are back or another day, because that time might never come. It has happened to me many times in the past, and now I'm trying my best to avoid it. I'm gonna take this photograph really quick. This one I can take from the car, actually. I don't know if it's raining. No, it's not. So a panorama would work better here. I'm gonna try that. But I'm also gonna try the square. The problem is that if I show the water in front of the mountains, there is a part of it that is different from the other one. It's darker. I guess that's the current or something. But the thing is that it's, in my opinion, it's a little bit distracting. So what I'm gonna try to do too is to point the camera up a little bit and just show those two mountains on the very bottom of the frame against the cloudy sky, so I avoid that stretch of water there while still capturing the two shapes overlapping. There you go. I think that looks nice. All right, so 15 stop ND filter, 4-minute long exposure. The composition is pretty simple. That dock on the bottom right of the frame, and then on the top of the frame we have that tongue of the forms the fjord. Now the mountain that is behind the other one is kind of fading away because of the rain, but I think that is gonna just add to the atmosphere and the mood of the image. It's raining quite a bit now. it's done. Hopefully it worked. It did. I had to use the center bar because again this tripod is just not high enough to avoid some of the weeds in the foreground. That makes it more likely that the image is gonna be blurry, but no, it did work pretty well actually. I really like it. Yep, nice. If it wasn't raining, I would try the long exposure again, or maybe a couple more times. And this camera is not really waterproof. It's pretty wet now. I think that's how I ruined the screen. Again, if you don't know, it's not working. I have to use the viewfinder. I have to fix it. I hope I can fix it. But I think this was because I do think this happened in Senya, much farther north from here, when I was surprised by a downpour. I am soaked, and my cameras are too. As you can see, I don't baby my cameras or my lenses. I try not to be reckless with them either. I don't want to ruin them, but I'm gonna use them even if the conditions are not the best like right now, because I know if I'll ever be back here again, and that is an image that I think is worth it. Time for a snack, by the way. Gonna have some grapes. I've been a lot into grapes on this trip. I didn't really love them before this, but I know I got them one day at the grocery store and I love them. It's like little candy. Very good. You see those mountains there? They look amazing. What I like is the contrast between the peak in the middle that is dark and is not covered in snow against the two on the side that are white and covered in snow. So hopefully I can capture that scene. I'm gonna start with a wider take, including the water and the town there, but I definitely want to get closer to that trio of peaks. Yeah, I have to point the camera up to isolate those three alone. Last shot. There's a waterfall there too. Okay, different angle of the same scene. I'm gonna shoot it from inside because I don't have much room here to maneuver. Focus on the black dark peak in the middle, and the biggest one, the white one on the left. I'm trying to capture that waterfall on the bottom left. It's looking very, very good. I'm gonna try to take it without the glass just in case. All right, that should be good. Yet another take on that same scene. I am much closer to those mountains now, so it should be very different. Okay. Something like that. So beautiful around here, man. Let me try a different composition. All right. Okay, this is the random spot that I found this morning on Google Maps, and as I was expecting, it's just incredible. I could have spent a week around here taking photos, but I don't have a week, so let's take some photos of this beautiful church right here. not seeing any images here now. No, it's not working. Nope. Oh well, what can you do? I'm gonna walk for a little bit, get a little bit farther from the church, and see if that helps me finding new images. You see, this is a very different approach from the one that I used to have just a few years ago. Obviously when I was shooting film, but also after that. I think it was out of a habit. But when I was shooting the Bronica, it was a necessity to be a little bit more picky and to be more selective with your shots, because every shot was costing me like $1 or something like that. I was 12 in each roll, and then I would have to load a new roll. So that's why I was more selective back then. Now an extra shot or 10, it doesn't really matter. It's almost for free. It only costs me the time of having to go through them afterwards. Neither of them is the right approach. It depends on the photographer, it depends on your personality, it depends on the situation, it depends on the subject that you're photographing, because there are some subjects where you can take all the time you need to get the perfect composition. In other situations, time is a little bit more of a constraint. If I wanted to take a picture of those little guys there, for example, I wouldn't be able to take half an hour to set up a composition. And on days like today, when it's rainy and moody, conditions can change very quickly as well. So you don't have as much time to actually set everything up and take a lot of time looking for the perfect, absolute perfect image. That is not to say that I don't care about my compositions. Quite the contrary, I do care, and I try my best to get the composition that... Hello. It's just that, when you are shooting digital, that takes much less time. With the Bronica, I was spending a lot of time on other stuff, like setting up the tripod. Most of the shots were taking on the tripod. And I was also making sure that it was focusing properly, and I was loading film, or how you call it, taking out the slider or whatever it was, the dark slide to actually expose the thingy, and I was metering the scene and all those things that I don't have to do anymore with digital, so I can focus more on actually get the composition that I want. So just because I don't take as much time setting up the whole thing, the whole rig, doesn't mean that I don't care about the composition. I still do, and I still try to do the best I can every time I press the shutter. But now, because I get to do it much more often, I'm learning much faster, and that's why my photography has improved, in my opinion, much more in the last few years than it had done before. And as I said earlier, I experiment more. I allow myself to make more mistakes because they are free. It doesn't cost me money. And you don't fail with bad photos if you are learning. And I think that's what happens to me. I think that's what a lot of people should do, is just to shoot more, to learn what works and what doesn't. And unfortunately, this church is just not working for me right now, so I'm gonna keep moving. What do you think of my random pick for today? This is so beautiful. I mean, I'm not even surprised. It's of course a national park, there is a glacier, there is another lake on the other side of the mountains. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to go there, but it looks as beautiful as this one as well. This is just ridiculous. Norway, it's just not fair. It's not fair. These scenes are pretty hard to compose in a square, but I'm gonna try. Oh, it's cold. I need to get my jacket again. But yeah, what I'm trying now is to get the whole thing, that canyon, tunnel, whatever you want to call it, in between those incredible mountains. The whole thing, but pointing up a little bit, so they will be on the bottom of the frame, and then the rest is going to be sky. Then I'm going to have to darken in post to give it some texture. But yeah, the goal here is to just make that water disappear as well and give it a little bit more of a dreamy look. And then after that, what I'm gonna try is just to capture everything else that is around here, because it's beautiful no matter where you look at. But in that direction, I'm also gonna take longer shots, at 150, 200 millimeters or something like that, just focusing on the details. Luckily for me, this road is not busy at all, so I can just stop here really quick. Look at that waterfall with those cows. So cool. So cool. Okay, another one from inside the car. There's no good place here to park. Alright, that's another very cool view from here. Here I can park and get out of the car. Let's do that really quick. It's raining quite a bit, so... God, I want to take a long exposure. Let me check. Here I am taking this long exposure of this beautiful scene. Very simple, the tree on the bottom left, and then the rest of the frame, of course. It's about the mountains. I got the umbrella out, not just because it's raining quite a bit, but also I protect the camera from the wind a little bit. Not the bottom part of the tripod, but at least the top part, because again I have to use the center bar to get the angle that I needed here. Yeah, I think I need a new tripod, because I find myself having to do that very often. Wendy. It's a 4-minute long exposure. It's my second. The first one was a little bit too dark, so I'm trying now with higher ISO. Hopefully it's not blurry because of the wind. If not, I'll have to try it again. Well, I clipped the highlights, so I have to take it again. And while we wait, I just want to clarify that some people think that a good photographer actually knows what they are doing all the time, and they only take the photo when it's gonna be a good one. Well, for me, that's not the case. Sometimes I take a photo thinking that it's going to be amazing, and it turns out not to be that good. And other times I take the photo because someone caught my eye, but I think, man, it's not that great. But then I get to the computer, I work a little bit on it, and it's like amazing, much better than the other one. So if a good photographer only presses the shutter when the photo is going to be good, then I'm not a good photographer, and I don't care. Okay, that's it. Let's go. Oh. Way too many things. And now that there you go. And now that my camera gear is safe, it's time for me to get wet. Oh shit. All right, this is as far as I'm gonna go today into this fjord. There is supposed to be a glacier at some point around here, but I don't think I'm gonna have a clear view today. The clouds are swallowing all the mountains around me too, so I think it's about time to head back. I have quite a drive back home, but I'm hoping to take more photos on the way there. I know I will be taking more photos. Okay, before leaving, I'm gonna try to grab a couple pictures from here if I can, if I see something. Definitely those mountains there. Always looking for contrast, so I'm trying to capture those mountains, but also this slope here. Just look at the difference that it makes. I mean, they are both beautiful images, don't get me wrong, but this could be one version, but now this I think is much better because it complements the subject there. So I'm gonna try to take another here really quick. This is so beautiful, but I know what to do here. I am getting soaked, so yeah, this is why I'm not taking a lot of time to make sure that the image is the perfect one. I'm just capturing what I see. There is glacier 7 kilometers, and there is a boat wreck. That'd be cool, but I know how long that hike is. I will have to go down there, and it's raining a lot. Not just because it's raining, but also because I have quite a drive back, and I don't have a lot of light left on the day, and I don't want to drive through the mountains at night, that's for sure. But the main reason why I shoot a lot is because it makes me stay engaged with the process for much longer. Going back to the Bronica, and again, I'm not trying to compare, I'm not trying to start a war between digital and film, but when I used to shoot with the Bronica, it was easier for me to disconnect and disengage a little bit more, because now with this camera I always have it ready to go. Here in the car is here on my side, so I can grab it and really quick I can use the zoom to take any photo pretty much. When I'm walking or hiking, this camera is always out and it's always ready to take a photo. So when I see something, I don't think twice about it. I just take the photo, and that has that effect on me. It makes me stay more engaged, and the more images I take, the more images I see. And it's when I stop, when I get very picky and very selective, that I don't see anything. I just stop seeing. Of course, there is a point where no matter what, I'll stop seeing because I'm tired or whatever. Everyone has a limit, right? But shooting more and shooting often makes me more productive for a longer period of time. I guess you could sum up my approach this way. In the field, I shoot with my gut, and then on the computer, I select and edit with my brain. All right, that tree is very cool. Hopefully I can get a good angle. And you know, I've talked about this before, but sometimes shooting from inside the car when it's raining can make for very cool photos, because the light bends with the water drops, and it can create some cool effects. Well, you know how much I love the hay bales, and those are in a very cool location. They create a lot of contrast. They are very visible, even though they are very far. But yeah, nothing incredible, but again, you just gotta try. Maybe a little bit farther and with a better angle. A little bit farther, a little bit farther. Maybe this angle will work better. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Well, one last look at this lake. All right, that'll do it. Now that will do it. The thing about photography that is different from, say, writing or playing an instrument or painting is that we rely on the light. There is not much photography to be done out there right now at night on a rainy, cloudy day, at least in nature. So this is another good reason why out there in the field I go with my cat and I take every single photo that feels right, because then I can use this time that I get to spend indoors to work on all of those photos, on the good ones and on the bad ones. It does take time to go through all of those photos. I have literally thousands of them from here, from Norway, but I will be learning quite a lot from all of them, and I look forward to those long winter nights working on them. Oh, by the way, I did end up making some more images on my way back home that day. Here they are. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.